welcome to episode 2 of Captiva Key. I should probably explain the absence of an upload last week. Had some computer issues, but everything's all fixed now. This episode we're going to be focusing on detailing and fixing up a lot of the empty holes I left during the last episode. Just there I was raising the sea level a little bit because I thought it was a bit unrealistic where it was. So yeah, mostly what I'm doing here is putting down a lot of props and decals and stuff like that. You'll see I use a lot of planters and put down a lot of trees. Yeah, so I use a lot of bushes as well. And yeah, so that's what I do for a while. So the problem I had with my save game, I should probably explain that. Originally, when I went to save the game, it would take way too long or it would just crash, which was totally abnormal. Then, when I went to do a complete uninstall of the game, I found that I would always get this error message. Long story short, after a week of testing, I realized it was a problem with my assets and Metro overhaul mod. So yeah, I fixed that, and there's about a week in between some of the footage you'll see here, but other than that, it wasn't too big of a deal. I didn't really miss too much. So yeah, right here I'm just filling in some space because I didn't like what I had done before. Yeah, so I just toy around a lot this episode. I don't want to say there wasn't a lot of progress made, but I would have liked to do a lot more than I did. So yeah. Alright, so right here, this is something that I was really proud of. I managed to use ploppable asphalt, which is just a wonderful mod in general. I recommend all of you to get that. And I placed it on top of this parking lot that I didn't really put a lot of, well, I don't say not a lot of effort, but I didn't really finish up during the last episode. But right here, I went kind of overboard with it, but I paved over the whole thing because the idea behind this area was that it was like a fresh parking lot. So I think in the future, I'll use the asphalt for all the newer stuff, like the newer condo type things. And then if something's like, you know, been around for a really long time, I'll emphasize that by just not putting any asphalt. I really like the use of the different decals I used here and how well it blends over into the road. And yeah, so I know there's a lot of vanilla assets or other assets in the game that I've used that have a lot of props, and of course I can just use prop it up to get rid of those. but I'd like to avoid that as much as possible, just because you're left with some prop anyway. Like, I mean, I might as well just use an asset that doesn't have them. So those buildings right by the river that you kind of saw earlier, I delete what's at the base, because I use those to hide the conflicting terrain, because I used move it to elevate one on top of the other. So what I ended up doing was I just picked a completely different asset, and I think it actually looks much better before, even the old asset without any props, it still looks much better. So right here, I'm filling in those planters that I placed last episode, I believe. I got rid of some of those trucks that kind of conflicted over the parking lot. And I think this whole parking lot came together really well. Like, parking lots aren't supposed to look good, but I'm really using a lot of them. So here you see me putting down more of these tile decals. I know I mentioned last episode I wouldn't use too many of these, but it's just force of habit. I'm gonna end up using a lot of these. Hopefully they don't despawn on me. That's worst case scenario. Well, actually, worst case scenario is I just end up putting them all down again. Hopefully that isn't the case. I tried not to use too many of them. I'm not using them on all the buildings, although I guess I am using them on a lot of them. Yeah, these blue ones, I thought I would go for a really cool blue vibe for these buildings, if that makes any sense at all. And you'll notice there, these buildings see the props cut on and the parking and all this. So you see me toying around with it for a bit, and I decided, I just scrapped it because it was just causing me too many issues. And yeah, I guess I'm just doing a little looking around there. Yeah, so I guess I tried to see what else I could detail. Yeah, see those assets with the parking lots on them? I can't stand those. So I was trying to combine these into one building again. In the end, I get rid of the taller one. It just didn't end up looking good, and I figured, we'll just keep some low-rise buildings on this main avenue thing, which I haven't really talked about much. That's gonna be a bus/tram road. So I know it's supposed to be based on Miami with a lot of cars, but I wanted it to put in a more modern influence to it, where in the ideal world we would have transformed this avenue into a more versatile use. So converted it into a mix between an avenue that is only for buses and tram lines. So yeah, right now you'll see I'm using these buildings again, which I used earlier, but I didn't really feel the need to explain. I'm pretty sure they're vanilla assets. They might not be, but they do have props on them, which is usually a no-go. But I found that they actually look really good, and I didn't want to leave just the bottoms of these buildings without some kind of connected base, because I don't know if everyone knows that, but most COD node developments have some kind of building at the base, especially nowadays. So I figured I would use those because it looks pretty good. I'm sure in the future I'll end up changing it with prop it up or something like that, but I haven't really planned that far ahead yet. By the end of this episode, you'll see how great the downtown looks, and with the next episode, because I did kind of record them around the same time, they end up looking absolutely amazing. So yeah, you see me toying around in my settings. I've uninstalled and reinstalled this game many times, so I've had a lot of issues with those kinds of settings. Here we're doing some more detailing on the waterfront condos. You see this kind of architecture, if you just go on Google Maps and look around at Miami, you'll see a lot of this kind of stuff. Maybe not exactly the palm trees, but I really wanted to emphasize that tropical vibe. So yeah, I just kind of put that in there to see, just so when people see the city, they think, oh, okay, well, obviously this is somewhere down south. I spend a lot of time doing these fences, and honestly, I didn't even put them all the way around. So yeah, that was me being lazy on my part. I'm sure eventually I'll get back to that. One day, of course. So here I'm just doing more parking lots. I have a bit of a problem with the asphalt going over one another, or over the parking lot, I should say. I end up fixing that with a decal, but you can't see those from far up above, which is a bit of an issue, but it doesn't bother me too much because, you know, it's just a parking lot, and I guess if I really wanted to, I could spend time working at it. But it's, I mean, in my mind, it's not even supposed to look good anyway. Like, there's these huge, hulking parking lots, which I do end up using a lot in that area in the future. Which some people might say, well, that's unrealistic. Well, frankly, it's not, and it doesn't look good at all. But really, like, that's the reality. Like, a lot of the areas south of the central business district, like where a lot of those condo towers are, those were probably built, in my mind, on existing parking lots. So having pockets where there's just like one high-rise surrounded by a parking lot and then some low-rise buildings, that's not entirely unrealistic. I mean, I wouldn't enjoy putting that in a city, but then again, I wanted to go for realism, and I wanted to show that, like, okay, maybe not the entire city is completely, like, the downtown isn't completely developed, because of course that's just unrealistic, and, you know, it's just, it wouldn't make sense. Okay, so there you saw a bit of a sneak peek for next episode. Like I said, they were recorded at around the same time, so you probably saw some of that area near the waterfront, with that Eureka Tower asset. Yeah, that's what's coming next episode. Yep, that whole area, like, it looks phenomenal. Like, I don't explain everything I've done in there, but it looks amazing. Which reminds me, right now you'll see me working around IHXAI's asset. Forget the exact name, doesn't matter. He's an amazing asset creator. He has his own channel where he's recreating Dubai right now, which is completely phenomenal. And he doesn't upload too often, but the amount of effort he puts into each video is amazing. And on top of it, like, he creates all of his own assets as well, like almost all. And he doesn't upload all of them to the workshop, which I'm really begging he does, because they are amazing. But yeah, soon, hopefully, right? And you'll see me use his and Saran's work together. I'll be sure to link down below his channel, where he's already uploaded 2 episodes. They're both just amazing, and if, you know, just support him, because, like, I'm just being flat out, like, you should really support this guy, because the stuff he can make in the, like, just the city itself, you know, it's such a huge task, and he's not, like, cutting corners. Like, he's building it, like, he's gonna put down, you know, if he wants to recreate this area, he's just gonna make the asset himself, which I think is just a real next level of dedication, if you ask me. So unfortunately, that's it here for this episode. Just some finishing cinematic shots. If you like what you saw, be sure to like the video down below. You'll get some sneak peeks of the next couple episodes probably throughout this video. Hopefully not too many. But yeah, I'll see you guys around next time. And be sure to like and subscribe.